Hi, welcome to Sumery P. Thank you for clicking on. Today I've got a moist date cake with buckwheat flour, or you can swap it out for your favourite flour. It's light, it's semi-healthy and super easy to whip up. So if you'd like to see my date cake with buckwheat, come with me and let's see. So step one, pop your oven on 170 degrees C and prepare your tin. I'm using a small loaf tin. I've just greased it and lined it with baking paper. Just got some little clips holding my paper on. And we need to pre-soften the dates. I'm using pre-chopped dates because they're on sale. They were super cheap, so I thought I'll just buy these because it'll be easier. So I've got a cup of dates in there already, and which is 140 grams. Got some boiling water on standby. I'm just going to use about 1/4 cup of the boiling water. I just want to soften these a little bit. And I'm going to use a teaspoon of bicarb soda or baking soda. These are coated in a little bit of rice flour, so they're a bit white in colour, but I'm just going to let those soak to soften a little while we do the next step. Pop that on, just put a little plate on top, so I'll put them to one side. So here I've got some unsalted pre-softened butter, so we're going to pop that into the mixer. I'm just checking my notes here. It's 125 grams, which is about 1/2 cup and 1 tablespoon. And here I've got some dark brown sugar, so that's going in as well. That's 150 grams or about 1 cup loosely packed. I'm basing this recipe on one of my other recipes for my coffee bread, and I'm just modifying it for a date cake. So I'm going to whip these up. Just want to make sure that's all incorporated. So now I'm just going to add, got 2 eggs here. They're large free-range eggs. I'm going to add one egg at a time. Oh, I was going to add 1, but they flopped in. So let's just put 2 in at a time. If you're baking this at home, just do 1 at a time. Sometimes when I film, things don't go to plan. This cake reminds me of when I was little. My mum always made a date loaf cake. She always used a packet mix, which I don't like packet mixes, but when I started making this cake and testing it a few months ago, I was like, that's the flavour I'm after, but I've kind of made it a bit more sophisticated and added the dark brown sugar and a few more spices. It's all caught on my paddle attachment, so I'm just going to grab that off. So we'll let that do its thing. So now I need to prepare my flour. So I've got a sift and a whisk on standby. So in here I've got my 200 grams of buckwheat flour already measured out. So it's about 200 grams, sorry, it's about 1 cup plus 1/4. And this buckwheat flour is quite white. I know some parts of the world the buckwheat flour is quite grey. This is a gluten-free one. So I love this cake because it's also gluten-free. And I should have sifted in a teaspoon of baking powder. And we've got some spice, so you don't need to add this spice, but I love cakes with a little bit of extra spice. So we're going to pop in just 1/2 teaspoon of ginger. That's ground ginger. I'm just going to stop that. I'm going to do a full teaspoon of cinnamon, but these are optional. You can leave them out if you don't want it spiced. And into that, I'm going to add some vanilla, just 1 teaspoon, into this egg mix. It's going to help those spices along. Give it 1 more whisk to combine it. And I'm going to add the flour just a little at a time in like thirds and mix it with the batter. Stop and scrape as you go. Stop and scrape. Stop and scrape. A little bit of a song. My silliness is for my young viewers. I have a few young viewers out there that bake things with their parents. So that's why I act a little bit silly sometimes. And as I said in the intro, if buckwheat flour is not your thing, you could use spelt flour. I know a lot of my viewers like spelt flour, or just regular flour. But if you want to use self-raising flour, don't put the baking powder or the baking soda in, just leave it out. Before we go any further, we've got to grab those dates. So what I like to do is I like to reserve some of these dates. See, they've gone all kind of soft now. Just going to reserve maybe a tablespoon and a half. I'm just going to pop those on the top of the batter before I cook it. So I'm going to pop them in. And then in here I've got 100 mils of oat milk, but you can use regular milk, so I'm going to pour that into the batter as well. So that's about 1/3 plus 1 tablespoon. We don't want to mix this too much now, just gently fold it. Do it a few times with this, the mixer. Then I'm just going to do the rest by hand. So let's scrub that off. Just stir it with my spatula a few times. So grab your loaf tin, pour the cake batter in. Remove those clips. So we don't want to bake with them. I'm just smoothing it over. Grabbing those dates that we had soaking before, and I'm going to throw them on top. So another thing I like doing is adding a sprinkle of granulated sugar to the top, just to create like a little crunch. There's our cake. I'm going to bake it for about 40 to 50 minutes in our oven's warm. So let's bake that and then I'll clean up. And don't forget, stick around and we'll do a little taste test and a reveal. Can't wait to try it. We're back with our cake. The date cake's been cooling for about an hour, and I'm just going to slice it and do a taste test. So I'm just going to come closer. So check that out. Not too sweet, moist, light. You can't really tell it's buckwheat. I love it. So try this at home. Hit the thumbs up if you've liked my video today. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to keep seeing more of these kind of videos. And share this with a friend. Stick around, I'll pop some links to a few other buckwheat cake recipes. And I'll see you next time. So thanks for watching. Bye.